Was it worth it? Day 2 in Athens at the Acropolis, part of our pre-extension Viking cruise package coming up. Hey, it's your boy Jeffrey Gard with The Whole Traveler. Day 2 in Athens, and we are diving into the Acropolis, the Parthenon, and the Acropolis Museum. Our first full day on the Viking Cruise Pre-Extension package. If you're going to Greece, the Parthenon and Acropolis are non-negotiables. It's the heart of Greek identity, a sacred symbol for the Greeks, and a symbol worldwide of democracy, the invention that is credited to Greece. It's simply one of those things, those World Heritage Sites you gotta make time for. It's incredible and definitely worth it. So we chose to have the experience with a group tour that we found off of Expedia. And was it worth it? Well, I have some thoughts on that, and in the end, I'll share with you some important things that I learned that can make your experience a better one than mine. Our group tour began at the base of the Acropolis, which is really the actual hill, and we would hike up to see the Parthenon, which is the most majestic structure that sits on top of the Acropolis. But there's actually quite a bit to see on the walk up, and on the actual hilltop. There's other structures too besides the Parthenon. Along the way up, you're going to see the Theatre of Dionysus and the Odeon of Herodes Atticus. These are the two showstopper parts on the way up that you definitely want to make some time for. It's going to blow your mind when you stop to consider how old all of these structures are. They're nearly 2,500 years old. Just let that sink in for a second. You know, when you imagine what people must have looked like back then, they were probably smaller, they're probably weaker, they didn't have access to the nutrition we have, and how hard they had to work at building all of this because there were no machines, very limited technology. The kicker is that these structures were so well built and are so strong that some of them are still used to this present day, like the Odeon of Herodes Atticus, which has seen superstars like Celine Dion, Elton John, and Pavarotti perform to sold-out audiences. Up the hill, the entranceway to the Parthenon is called the Propylaea, which is amazing. It's a grand entrance and it's flanked by two structures. The one to your right, the small little block house, is called the Temple of Athena, which is much smaller than you would think, given that the city is named in her honor. I mean, if I was Athena, I'd be like, yo, why is this so small? You can't expect for me to spend eternity here. Hopefully they didn't line it with Naughty Pine. If you know the reference, you know. But seriously, it's still majestic and beautiful, just much smaller than you think. And of course you have all the other sites. You have the actual Parthenon, which will absolutely give you chills. It will give you the feels. It is so beautiful. It's stunning when you stop to think who built it and how long ago it was built. Again, it marvels the mind. Stop to take it in, along with the 360 panoramic views of Athens. It will all leave you speechless. Absolutely mind-blowing. We were there in December and the temperature could not have been more perfect. Around 65 degrees. There was an overcast of clouds, which I was grateful for, so that Greek sun doesn't kill you, because it will. I'm a big believer in going off-season to Greece because it's very temperate, it's very doable. I don't know how anybody does Greece in the summer. I would just melt. The only thing I had a problem with were the crowds. Even for the off-season, as you can see in the videos, tourists were everywhere. It was just filled with people. But this is such a massively important historic site of worldwide significance that I think it's one of those things like the Eiffel Tower that's just always going to have people every single day, year round, throughout. So just prepare for that. No, just expect there to be large crowds, some obnoxious people. You know how it goes. All right, let's talk about the stars of the Acropolis. The cats. The place is filled with kitties and they are so chill. They put up with your petting, but at some point they turn around and say, okay, you've pet me for long enough, now where are my treats? They'll give you a nasty look too if they realize they're not getting them, and then they'll just walk away from you and they'll make sure that you know the petting's over. There was one giant black cat at the top of the hill. Bro was king. He was surrounded by people, tourists all flocking around him, taking pictures of him, full paparazzi style. If you like cats, you're gonna love Greece, especially the Acropolis. These cats have so much personality, but make sure you bring your treats. It's all transactional for them. The walk up and the walk down are both really easy, gradual slopes, but some areas are paved while others are not. You're definitely going to want to wear appropriate shoe wear for walking, because while the walk is easy, you're simply going to be on your feet a lot. And at the Acropolis and the Parthenon, there's nowhere to really sit. You're not allowed to sit on the structures. It's an archaeological site, so you can't just plop yourself on the marble stone. That's not going to happen. So just, be aware and just wear the right shoes. If you have a wheelchair or need wheelchair assistance, they actually have a place, I think there's like an elevator or lift that can actually take you to the top. But go to the website and learn about that and coordinate directly with them, because I think you need a special kind of pass or permission for that. Afterward, our group went to the museum, which was just across the street from the Acropolis. It's a beautiful modern structure, so much natural light, several floors, and even the base level has some glass floors where you can view some of the archaeological digs that are happening right underneath the museum, which is really cool. And they also, the museum also has original material housed in the museum from the Acropolis, from the Parthenon, like the original statues of the caryatids. Hope I said that right. Because it was a group tour and we sped through the museum only touching on major points of interest, it felt rushed for us. But honestly, I'm not going to complain too hard about that, because when the tour group ended, we could take our time and we can go and see the things that we really wanted to see and kind of linger on them. But I was also really exhausted mentally and physically at that point. Plus, I was also getting hungry, and that's a good thing because the museum has a museum restaurant that I think is like on the second floor. Don't quote me on that, but it's like on the second floor. And then there's a base level cafe too. So if you want just like a nibble, you can go to the ground floor cafe. But they also have a cafe next to the restaurant on the second floor. And I recommend the restaurant because the restaurant has stunning views of the Acropolis and the Parthenon. So not only do you get to sit down and eat, rest your feet, and have some good food. They have a traditional Greek classic menu. It's perfectly fine. It's nothing to write home about, but it's not awful either. It's good. I had chicken, I had greens. They have great dessert. Dessert was also good, but I love any kind of dessert. I mean, you can give me a bag of sugar and I'll be in love. The main thing is just getting to rest your feet and then having these stunning views to look at and just kind of process everything that you experienced. Was the tour worth it? In my opinion, I would not have done the group tour again. I don't think it was worth it. It wasn't bad, but what I realized about the whole experience is that, number one, it really is a full day affair. You're going to be there a minimum of 5 hours. You don't want to rush through something like this because you may never get to really see or do it again. And so you're going to want to take your time to really just enjoy the scale and the magnitude of what it is that you're a part of. And so that takes time. It's going to basically take an entire day. And In retrospect, what I would have done differently was I would not have paid for a tour, because I realized that everything, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, everything, the museum, there's signs and labels, and there's a museum app. So there's tons of information that explain what you're looking at. So you can just read it yourself. You don't need someone to tell you anything, because you can figure it all out yourself. And also, what I would have done first was I would have gone to the museum first. I would have gone to the very top floor, and at the top floor they have a movie about the Parthenon, the Acropolis. It gives you tons of historic background intel on the building, the culture, everything that you need to know. Gives you that amazing primer, and then I would have wound my way down, locking in the knowledge from the movie to particular aspects of the the particular things that I was looking at, the statues or the frescoes or whatever I was looking at. I could have applied that documentary knowledge and read whatever signs. And then once I finished with the museum, I would have gone to the restaurant, enjoyed some food, take a break, and then walked off the meal at the Acropolis, applying everything I had just learned at the museum to what I was seeing in actuality. And also at the Acropolis, at the Parthenon, like I mentioned, there's tons of placards that explain everything. So if I forgot something, I could just read it. So that's what I would have done. And I would have saved some money in the process, not spending it on a group tour. I would have been able to linger and stay where I wanted to stay for as long as I wanted to, and rush through things that I didn't really care about. But hindsight, hopefully that helps you in your planning. After our nap, we got ready to go to the National Opera House, which was just across the street from the Marriott Hotel, which I mentioned in the previous video. The Marriott Athens is a ways away from the city center, and I wasn't really happy about that until I discovered that it was right next door to the Stavros Niarchos Park, and that is an absolute gem. It is, in a word, gorgeous. It is kind of like a modern day agora. So you have this like building complex which houses the National Opera, which has a library there, along with a reflecting pool. And this time of year they had a skating rink. And at night they had lights all decked out along the trees, and it was just full of actual Greek people, citizens of Athens, not tourists, that were completely taking over the park and enjoying it. It was honestly one of the best moments I had in Athens, because it was just full of actual Greeks. It was not like Plaka that's full of tourists, or Acropolis full of tourists. It was so wonderful to hear Greek and to just be a part of that in a kind of a naturalistic setting. The Opera House, like the park, is state of the art. The tickets were only 30 euros, and it was an amazing performance, ballet performance of Don Quixote that we got to see. The whole evening was just as romantic as you could want it in Athens. I have zero complaints. It was such a beautiful experience. I highly recommend it. If you're looking for a genuine Athens experience where you feel like you're going to be around Athenians and not tourists, this is the place to go. They have a rooftop garden too if you climb the stairs at the end where the National Opera House and the library are, that also add an element of just wowness. There's an underground tunnel that connects the side of the street that the Marriott Athens is on to the park, and in that underground tunnel is a really cool graffiti street art tunnel. The tunnel is laden with tons of graffiti and street art that kind of give it a pop-up impromptu gallery if you're into that, which we are, and I absolutely loved it. Overall, excellent day. The last time I was in Athens was in 2003, and I was traveling for business solo, and I got to see the Acropolis and Parthenon, but of course it was on my own. And this time I got to spend it with my husband, which made the experience so much sweeter. Plus, the museum was an addition that wasn't there 22 years ago, so it really made it a very special experience, and I'm grateful that I got to see it this time around. It was a really great day. But you know what? I'm even excited. I'm more excited by tomorrow, because that was embarkation of the Viking Star, and I can't wait to share all that with you coming up.